Welcome to This Explainer. All right, let's just be completely honest right out of the gate here. You are sitting on this massive dream, right? But you're kind of doing absolutely nothing about it. You've probably had this exact same idea bouncing around in your head for 2, maybe 3 years now. It could be this game-changing move for your career, a new business, your relationships, maybe your wealth. But you just haven't hit go yet. You're waiting. Well, today we are going to unpack exactly what is getting in the way, because there are 3 specific traps keeping us all stuck.
To really understand how to break free, we're going to look at this absolutely incredible case study. We are looking at a creator named Sandeep Swadia. Now, Sandeep sat on his dream of starting a YouTube channel for over 5 long years. 5 years. He never took action on it until last year. But get this, when he finally did, in just 8 months, he added a staggering 1.2 million subscribers. Literally, he reached a point where for every single second his channel was alive, someone was watching his content. When you finally break through these traps we're going to talk about, the results can be absolutely breathtaking. Okay, let's dive into this. If the potential for that kind of success is so great, why on earth do we put off our dreams for 5 years or, let's be real, sometimes an entire lifetime? Like, what are the exact psychological roadblocks standing right in the way of us taking that crucial first step?
Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark reality of human behavior. Researchers have actually looked at hundreds of studies on this exact thing, and they found that turning a dream into action is essentially a 50-50 coin flip. Yeah, a literal coin flip. Only about half the people who truly intend to do something, who genuinely want to follow their dreams, actually end up doing it. So, you know what? It's never about how badly you want it. The reality is that actually doing the thing is simply way harder than dreaming about it, and we just constantly get in our own way.
And that brings us to trap 1. We don't bet on ourselves.
See, the absolutely crucial point here is that our ambition is not the problem at all. We've got plenty of ambition. The real issue is how we see ourselves. We get trapped by this persistent, nagging belief that we aren't worthy, that we don't deserve it, or we worry, who is actually going to care about what I have to say? And Sandeep's story brilliantly illustrates just how deep this trap goes. Just look at this timeline. As a teenager, he literally ran away from home and became a monk in training, sweeping courtyards, cleaning toilets, eating 1 meal a day. Then he totally pivots, becomes a musician, graduates from MIT, of all places, and somehow leaps all the way to Wall Street. He eventually becomes this highly successful tech CEO, board member, and investor with 2 massive exits. You'd think someone with this absurd level of objective, real-world success would be completely fearless, right?
Well, wrong. Throughout that entire incredible journey, the constant, quiet, inner voice playing on loop in his head was, what am I doing here? I don't belong here. I am not supposed to be here. Even after retiring, when he finally wanted to start this creative channel, he was utterly terrified to go at it alone. He actually tried to hide behind his old bandmates. He asked them to start a channel together just so he could comfortably hide in the back as the drummer, rather than standing in the spotlight all by himself.
And get this, when his bandmates were too busy and he finally launched his channel, he was still so afraid to bet on himself that he hired an agency and literally told them, call it whatever you want as long as it's not my own name. He hid his real identity behind a brand name, the MIT Monk. And he heaved this massive sigh of relief because he felt like he didn't have to be himself. He could just safely play this avatar.
For the first 8 months, crickets. Seriously, very few views. He slowly crawled his way to 50,000 subscribers, and all the experts told him it would take at least another year to reach 100,000. But then, boom, a sudden, totally inexplicable algorithmic explosion happened. He hit 1 million subscribers so fast that MIT actually called him up and politely asked him to remove MIT from his brand name to avoid confusion. I mean, what an amazing problem to have, right? But it meant his chief of staff actually had to change his channel name to his real name, Sandeep Swadia, live on a Zoom call. So he was finally forced to step out of the shadows, stop hiding, and truly bet on himself.
Okay, let's move along and see how this builds with Trap 2, intimidation by AI and experts.
This one is a very modern, incredibly tricky trap that I know for a fact is holding so many of you back right now. The paralyzing thought here is basically, why even start anything when artificial intelligence and established experts can just do it all faster and better? It kind of feels like you've lost before you've even started. But to escape this, we really have to look at how true originality is actually created. It takes 2 human faculties that constantly fight each other: cold-blooded craft and hot-blooded emotion.
Now, AI is phenomenal at cold-blooded craft. It can handle grammar, structure, research, and speed instantly and basically for free. But here's the catch. AI is trained to make you sound like everybody else. To prevent your work from becoming just generic internet slop, you desperately need the other half, the messy, irreplaceable, hot-blooded emotion. That is your imagination, your intuition, and your uniquely human judgment.
Just listen to this beautiful quote from the great Indian poet Javad Akhtar. He says, "It is this very contradiction that gives the unique fingerprint that is yours." Honestly, that is so validating. The tension between structuring something perfectly and keeping its raw emotional spark alive, it's incredibly frustrating. You might spend hours wrestling with it. But that struggle, that exact contradiction between emotion and craft, is exactly what makes your output human. It gives your work a unique fingerprint that no machine is ever going to replicate.
Now, the other half of this second trap is blindly following the experts. When Sandeep's channel wasn't growing at first, these so-called experts handed him standard playbooks. They told him to speak artificially fast, beg for subscriptions 3 times a video, force this weird classroom vibe, and keep videos super short. He tried it, and he couldn't even recognize himself on screen. Following a standard operating procedure from generic experts is literally only going to turn you into a standard, highly commoditized product.
So he eventually just dropped the playbook completely and started having normal human conversations. And here is the truly amazing part. Experts had told him he needed this highly engineered, super cool sign-off. But in one video, he just accidentally blurted out, "I love you all." It was totally unscripted, completely genuine, and honestly a little awkward. But he kept it in, and it became his beloved trademark line. No playbook could have ever given him that. No AI would have generated it. It came purely from genuine, warm human authenticity.
And that leads us directly into trap 3, the illusion of being one thing.
We literally spend our whole lives trying to fit ourselves into a single, clean resume title, don't we? We label ourselves as just a lawyer, just an engineer, or just a marketer. And in doing so, we hide all those other diverse passions and experiences that actually make us who we are, kind of treating them like flaws or misfits. To break this illusion, think of a 6-string guitar. Each string on a guitar has a completely different thickness and a completely different tension. Each one is tuned to a totally different note. Think of these strings as your completely different, varied life experiences and skills.
If you just strum those strings open without touching the fretboard, it's just random noise, right? But if you learn to press at certain points, it creates gorgeous harmony. This perfectly illustrates how to use your diverse background. The Wall Street executive and the monk in training might seem like random noise when you separate them. But when you bring your completely unrelated identities together and learn exactly where to press, they resonate at a much deeper level. You create an uncopyable, completely unique harmony. Because that specific combination of strings, it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, but within you.
So I really have to ask you, are you leaving your other strings at home? Are you artificially separating your gifts? Maybe you feel like you aren't absolutely amazing at any one specific thing, but you know what? That is actually where the magic lies. You have to bring everything you are to your dream and treat the whole shebang as a raw, authentic experiment to truly stand out. Your Monday morning action plan. We've systematically dismantled the traps keeping you stuck. So now I'm looking right at you. What are you doing this Monday morning to finally stop waiting for permission? Here is your interactive chain reaction to finally bring that dream to life. Step 1, bet on yourself. Take the absolute smallest bet you can make and just get started today. Seriously, today. Step 2, rely on human judgment. Don't hide behind AI slop or generic expert playbooks. Trust your messy, unique, hot-blooded intuition. And step 3, keep experimenting. Bring all of your mismatched, beautifully different strings to the table and see what kind of gorgeous harmony you can make. If you follow this process, you are absolutely going to change the shape of your dream. And in turn, that dream will inherently change the shape of you. Start tonight on what you've been putting off for years. Remember, turning a massive dream into something real doesn't take a sudden magical explosion of talent. It just takes action. Because ultimately, a note you never play cannot become a song. So, what is the very first note you are going to play today?